Hello, my wonderful people. Welcome back to another episode on the Lover's Priestess. I am so happy we're back with another episode. And relating to the last week's episode when we talked about choosing yourself, today we're going to talk a little bit about shadow work and taking accountability, why it's important in your healing journey. But before we begin, if you haven't already connected with me on Instagram, what are you doing? I am waiting. My Instagram is at the Lover's Priestess. I do tarot reading services, Akashic Records consulting, and manifestation coaching one-on-one, where I work closely with your spirit guides and your loved ones to look on your limiting beliefs and unblock all of them so that you can step into your highest timeline. I've also recently released an Akashic Records episode. If you want to know what Akashic Records are and understand it a little bit better, it will definitely help you out. And I use it almost every day to just tap into my highest timeline, which I'm so grateful for. At the same time, I've also released a manifestation journal, which is your 30-day best friend. It works with you and how you can put yourself on the pedestal within 30 days and manifest effortlessly. All right, so let's begin this episode on shadow work and taking accountability, which is one of my most favorite things to talk about as a tarot reader. I have done shadow work for myself and multiple clients, and it does sound a little scary. I understand the name shadow work in itself sounds scary. A lot of people who have done their shadow work sessions with me were very, very scared to do it before. But let me tell you something about shadow work and why it's so worth doing. Shadow work is not scary at all. Yes, we do tap into your limiting beliefs. Yes, we do tap into your traumas, your triggers, which might not always be a pleasant thing to talk about or go through. But when I say that you are able to really look into them and overcome them from your loved ones, from your spirit guides, from that unconditional loving energy, it's not scary at all. And because I do see myself as a light worker, our messages that come are always from a loving place. And all my clients who have done shadow work with me were always so surprised after the session. They'd be like, "Oh my goodness, Gabby, that really wasn't scary. That was actually so beautiful." And I was like, yes, shadow work isn't scary if you're willing to heal. If you are willing to better yourself, nothing, when I say nothing, nothing will be scary, because you're so focused on healing and bettering yourself that nothing will be more scary than you staying in the dark place that you think is your norm. If you think that you deserve to be in this dark place where you're constantly scared, constantly triggered, constantly angry is better than healing, then I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say about that. That's your choice. Okay, that's your choice. But if you want to heal, nothing is scary. And when you want to heal, the universe, your spirit guides, your loved ones, the teachers, masters, God will send you the right people and will set you on the right path. It's always going to be a loving path, no matter how scary it may seem. It's not. Trust me. For me, when I did my shadow work, I had to learn about all my childhood traumas and how they affect me now. And it hurt, of course, and it was sad, and I cried about it, and I really had to recognize what was wrong and what had happened to me that made me become so insecure with myself, what made me become such a people pleaser because of my childhood. And again, like I mentioned this in the previous episode, it's not our parents' fault, right? This is where I say I take accountability as well, because I allowed myself to continue seeing that I had to constantly please someone because of what my parents did. And it's not necessarily their fault, because they're first time parenting as well, and they're learning. In this lifetime, they're learning too, and we're all just here to learn. So I don't blame them. But it was important for me to recognize that, because I struggled with so much insecurity growing up. And it really reflected in my friendships, my relationship, and just my life in general. And I do take accountability for that. Again, I'll get into that in just a moment. I did talk about that in the previous episode, taking accountability, not setting boundaries, blah, blah, blah. But we'll get into that. So So shadow work with your spirit guides, your loved ones, I understand. At the same time, it can be a little bit alarming, and it can be something that, we don't really want to open up. So of course, I talk about getting professional help, going to a therapist, right? Like, that's still important. If none of this is working for you, by all means, seek out professional help. I do not replace that. And I still respect what they do. However, the one thing I love to tell my clients when I do a session for them is that my cards don't lie. Your cards don't lie. Your spirit guides, your loved ones, they don't lie. They see everything. They see everything. That means we see everything. And I've been called out by my cards and my spirit guides so many times. It's actually quite funny. Sometimes I have a conversation with them and they're like, honey, you're avoiding this. You're not open to seeing this and fixing this. So we see that. And trust me, this is the reason why for me, now this is just my personal opinion. Please don't take this to heart. If you're someone who'd rather seek professional help, I respect that completely. But for me, I see it as sometimes when you seek professional help, you can lie to your psychologist, your psychiatrist, whoever you're talking to, your therapist. You can lie to them. And even though they might be able to read your mannerisms, your body language, they'll know when you're lying and stuff, they'll never know the real truth of what it is that you're hiding unless you tell them. That's just how I see it, right? Like, I could be totally wrong. I'm not a professional psychologist or psychiatrist. I did take psychology in high school, but completely different. I didn't major in it. So, but one thing I will say is that my cards and the spirit guides, they'll be very honest with me because they want to help you. They want to push you forward. And even if you don't want to talk about it, in some ways, when you open yourself up to us to let us help you heal, we will see a lot more than what you actually, how do I say this without sounding like we're invading your privacy. We're not invading your privacy, okay? But we will be able to tell you this is what you are facing in terms of your traumas, your triggers, and this is what needs to be done to help you move forward, okay? So don't worry too much about that. Of course, like when we do Akashic Records consulting, we always have to send you a consent form so that you can fill in before you do the session with us, just so that we make sure that, everything is consented and you. So, of course, that's why we always say you have to consent to the Akashic Records consulting before it begins, because we will be able to kind of tap into some things that you might not necessarily know, but your spirit guides, your masters, teachers, loved ones, they will share them with us so that we can help you heal. The only goal that we have at the end of the day is to help you heal. So just before I even did my Akashic Records consulting course, before I became a consultant, I only did tarot reading services for people, and I did shadow work with my tarot cards. And the truth is, even then, because my clients had the intention to heal and to better themselves, even though they didn't want to openly tell me what was wrong, my cards and my spirit guides told me exactly what it is they needed to work on. And so when I told them, I said, look, this is what I'm hearing. You need to work on this. You need to blah, blah, blah. They were shocked. They were so shocked. They were like, what? How did you know that? And I was just like, you see, your loved ones, they don't want you to suffer. So they want you to heal. So when you are open to healing, they will guide you on the right path. They will send you the right people to help you heal, not to scare you, but to genuinely push you forward so that you can overcome them. Because when they realize that you are suffering through something that's not meant for you, you will have to learn to overcome them so that you can continue to step on work onto your highest timeline. Now, of course, later on when we're ready, I'm going to talk about quantum shifting into your highest timeline, which is the most amazing and most fun thing to do. But we have to take steps, baby steps. And so this is why I'm sharing this with you, because I know it's not an easy journey. So I really want you to focus on your core beliefs and the core of this healing journey so that later on, everything just becomes so easy for you. So your spirit guides, your loved ones, they want you to heal. When you find a light worker like me or anyone else who are there to help you, it will become very clear to you, and it's a very safe space for you. So don't worry about that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about taking accountability as you're older and like what you've allowed to sorry about that. What you've allowed to let happen into your life currently. Taking accountability is also something that we have to recognize. So let's say, first of all, taking accountability is as simple as not wanting to heal and not wanting to hear our triggers and traumas and why they started and how they became became, that's taking accountability for actually not wanting to heal. You have to see that. You have to recognize that, because nobody is stopping you from healing but yourself. And once you can recognize, oh, I'm my own block, I realized that I didn't allow myself to heal, which I fully took accountability for, because I myself also was so scared to better myself, because I knew that if I better myself, I might lose the people that I love. I might stop wanting to please others, and that will make me lose connections. I'm taking accountability for that, because for so many years I was stagnant and I didn't heal and I didn't grow, because that was something I was afraid of. I was afraid of losing the connections when I would heal. So a lot of the times that is so normal to be afraid of, that when you change, you're so worried about the change that will go around you. But you have to realize that the change that will go around you will only be for the better, because you're trying to get better. So then when you better yourself, things around you will also become better, because the world around you is a reflection of you within. So taking accountability for that, and also recognizing, when we allow toxic relationships and friendships to enter our lives and not set boundaries for ourselves, that was us allowing us to get hurt, allowing us to continue building on that toxic cycle that we recognize and that we see, because that was the norm that we grew up in. That's all we knew. So then we allowed these people to hurt us, to disrespect us in a way, because that was all we knew. And I had to take accountability that I allowed it to happen, even though I know I didn't deserve it. I'm still taking accountability because I let it happen. I didn't stop it. I didn't just walk away when I should have. So I took accountability for that. You take accountability for your actions. Maybe you hurt someone. Maybe you did something wrong to someone, and you don't want to continue this cycle of hurting people. Maybe you are the person who hurts others instead of getting hurt. Nobody's judging here. If you're here, that means you want to get better. If you're here listening to this, that means I can see that you want to heal for yourself and others, and that's okay. We all make mistakes. We didn't come into this world perfect. We are still spiritual beings in a human body, and in a human body we will make mistakes, and that's okay. Nobody's judging you, as long as now you are trying to realize you've taken accountability for the hurts that you've caused other people, for the hurts that you've caused yourself, and you're trying to better yourself, and you're trying to help yourself get better to not hurt other people. Well done, you. Okay, we're human and we're only here to learn, and that's the best we can do. So taking accountability is also another step into your healing journey. When you're doing shadow work, a lot of the times it will call you out. It will not, maybe calling you out is a bit of a harsher term, but it will point out to you the traumas and the triggers that you've had before, where they came about, and what you need to work on. What are your limiting beliefs now and your blockages now that you need to take accountability for? Because now, as an adult, obviously, we can't continually blame our family. We can't keep blaming for our situation around us, that's making us act a certain way. No, we are in charge of our own actions. We are in charge of our own thoughts, our own decisions. So we have to take accountability for that. If you decide to take an action that doesn't necessarily benefit you, whose fault is that? You can't be like, oh, my friend made me do it. It's the same thing when our parents used to say, if your friend jumps off a bridge, are you going to do the same thing? Because you have to take accountability for your own thoughts and actions. So that's something that you have to think about when you're going through this healing journey. It's not a scary thing to do. In fact, it's such a noble thing to do. If you can take accountability for your own actions and really acknowledge it, apologize for it. If you hurt someone, apologize to them for it, and apologize to yourself, and forgive yourself for what you've done. Which, by the way, as an Akashic Records consultant, if you guys are interested, I have a forgiveness prayer that I use, that we are told to also share with our clients, that we can use this forgiveness prayer to forgive us, ourselves, and those around us for anything that they might have done. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know, or comment on my YouTube or my Instagram. That is something I can share with you. The forgiveness prayer, to forgive yourself for hurting yourself, forgiving others who may have hurt you. It's all about forgiving. It's not easy, and I understand that, but why would you want to hold on to a certain kind of pain when it doesn't serve you anymore, when you could just forgive and let go and move on? I know it's easier said than done, trust me, I know, but it's a process that you can work on, okay? So shadow work And taking accountability is not something to be afraid of. I hope that after you listen to this episode, you start to try to note down, like, okay, even if you don't do a tarot session with me or Akashic consultant or anything like that, I think one thing you could do is get a journal, okay? And on this journal, I want you to draw a line down the middle, write negative on one side and positive on one side. And these are going to be about your emotions. So whenever you start to feel anything negative, I want you to write down what it is and why you feel that way. And whenever you feel something positive, do the same thing. What it is and why is it? Why do you feel that way? And then compare them. Look at them. See, why do you feel these negative emotions? Okay? And then when you're done with making a list, now you can do this daily or whenever you just feel it, whenever you feel like you want to address these emotions that you were having. And plus, trust me, when you address the emotions that you are having, it really helps. It really helps to know what kind of emotions you feel throughout the day, because later on when I get into more depth of manifesting with you, you will see why your emotions are so important and the roles they play when you're manifesting. So it's so important to note them down so that you can look at them and then come back to it and be like, was it really worth feeling this way? And like, if it's a negative emotion, is it really worth feeling this way? And then ask yourself, why do you think it felt that way? What led you to feel that way? What might have been the cause for that? And a lot of the times, you can call out to your spirit guides, you can call out to God, and you can ask them to help you see the light in these experiences. One, they might either show you in a dream, or they might find a way to speak to you when you meditate. Whatever it is that you do, if you just call out and surrender and say that, please God, show me the light in this situation, it will help. Whatever it is, God, source, spirit, whatever you believe in, ask for help from a higher being, from a higher spiritual being. They will be able to help you and shine the light on what it is. And sometimes, if not, find me. I'd be more than happy to work through this with you. Okay? So, guys, that's all I'm going to talk about for today's episode. Shadow work and taking accountability ain't so scary, so don't be afraid to give it a try. If you're serious about your healing journey, it's going to be one of the biggest steps that you take into your highest timeline. Sending you guys so much love. Bye-bye.